Finales alcanzados en Ninguang. Ah, me faltan 4 finales más. Necesitamos acá. Cumples con los prerequisitos de la emisión. Tras hacer algunos preparativos, Ninguang y tú van al banquete. Su anfitrión es una empresaria que pagó una buena cantidad de mora a cambio del tiempo de Ninguang.
Lady Ninguang.
So you want to be my competitor? Or how about...
I won't take up any.
See you next time. Right then. I'm a little Good. Then let's... So, even though my secretaries are very capable and experienced... come on. The auction is being held...
Ah, no, no se repite. Ahora sí. La subasta es.
Lady Ninguang, what brings you here?
I couldn't help but feel a little concerned. So I just came to see how everything is going.
We're about ready, and people are starting to arrive. I think we should be able to start on time.
Very good. I think I'll host the auction myself.
Huh? You want to do it yourself?
Yes. Just in case anything untoward happens. I can take care of it myself.
Then we'll leave the auction itself to you. But we'll be sure to lend our full support behind the scenes.
Have you attended an auction before?
¿Has estado en alguna subasta? Fui espectador en una. No tengo tanto dinero.
Well, would you like to participate this time? You don't have to bid, of course. Just experience the atmosphere.
¿Te gustaría participar en esta ocasión? No tienes que empujar, por supuesto, solo disfrutar del ambiente. Claro, será divertido.
All right then. Feel free to take a look around the venue before it kicks off. Check out the items up for bidding and see if there's anything you might be interested in.
Espera que comience la subasta en 6 y 18 horas.
It's about time to start. Find yourself somewhere to sit and we'll kick things off.
Y es hora de comenzar. Busca un asiento. Antes de que comience quiero preguntarte algo.
Yes? What is it?
¿Qué sucede? ¿Los artículos que se subastan son valiosos?
That's for you to make a considered judgment on. It's precisely what makes auctions so interesting, don't you think? Until the bids exceed the value of the item you're after, you can keep raising the price. If the bids go beyond what you can accept, then you let someone else take it. Perhaps this does not result in what you might call a fair price, but what it does do is identify the person who values the item the most.
Tal vez esto no resulte en lo que llamaremos un precio justo, pero sí sirve para identificar a la persona que más valora el objeto. De acuerdo, veamos qué tal.
Yes, you should look forward to it. The first lot is a teacup from my personal collection. Bids starting at 10,000 mora. That's 10,000 mora for the teacup.
El primer lote es una taza de mi colección personal. El precio de salida es 10.000 moras. 10.000 por la taza. Normalmente no se pagará 10.000 por algo así.
20,000!
30,000! 50,000.
Qué puja tan acalorada.
80,000! 80,000 over here!
I'll raise that to 100,000.
120.
Parece muy determinado.
All right, 150,000. Anyone else want to keep going now?
150 once?
170? 180,000. Mm-mm.
180 once? 180 twice? 180. Sold!
Yeah, it's mine now.
No puedo creer que se vendería por 180,000 moras.
Okay then. Moving straight on to the next lot. You seem to be getting quite into it. What a shame that you didn't manage to go home with anything.
Parecía estar muy metido en las subastas. Qué lástima que no lograrás llevarte nada. Algo me da mala espina.
Of course it did. That's because I didn't come here to sell my things. I'm sure you must find it quite odd that all these everyday items could fetch such a huge price at auction. Since you're curious, why not go and talk to the buyers? I'm sure they'll give you the answers you're looking for.
Today wasn't my day. Didn't manage to snag much. There were too many bidders, and they all seemed like experts to me. I guess I'll just have to wait for the next auction. Someday, I'll be the lucky one. I may have paid an arm and a leg for this, but in the end, I got the result I wanted.
Pagué un ojo de la cara por esto, pero logró el resultado que esperaba. ¿No te preocupa que el precio estuviera inflado?
Nothing of Ninguang's could ever be overinflated. I'm far from the only buyer who believes that owned by Ninguang is worth paying a premium for. So how much I make just depends on how many people are even bigger fans of Ninguang than I am.
Huh? You want to know why I paid so much? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Because the previous owner was Lady Ninguang. Sure, the item may look pretty ordinary, but that's probably just because I'm not a connoisseur, so I don't know how to appreciate it. But I figured I'd buy it first, then go get it appraised by an expert. Then I'll be rich.
Well, did you find the answer yet?
Ahora ya tiene la respuesta. Es porque todo el mundo tiene fe en tus decisiones y tu sentido estético.
That's certainly part of it. But every bidder will have noticed that none of these items have a particularly high going rate on the market in and of themselves. Despite this, they were all willing to pay very dearly for them. I wonder, is faith in me really the only factor in their appraisal of the item's value?
Aún así estaban dispuestos a pagar mucho por ellos. ¿Es la fe en mí realmente lo único que le hace valorar el objeto? Si no, ¿qué otra cosa puede ser?
You'll see shortly. The one who spent the most money will surely be the quickest to realize. If all I wanted to do was make some quick mora by exploiting their blind faith in me, I have a million more effective ways of achieving that than hosting an auction. Every participant in this auction was handpicked by me, based on certain intelligence.
Lady Ninguang, something doesn't seem quite right with the items from today's auction. As unlikely as this sounds, and please forgive me for even bringing it up, but I had to ask. You weren't selling counterfeits today, were you?
Counterfeits? Absolutely not. What motive would anyone have for making copies of things like these? They are simply ordinary items, and there was no coercion or enticement during the auction. Every bid was voluntary.
Because we trusted you!
Everyone knows that you love more, but we also know that you made your fortune through honest means, as opposed to scamming people.
You seem to have entered into dangerous linguistic territory there. You should know that unless you have evidence to support your outlandish claims, I am legally entitled to sue you for slander. Of course, if you have any genuine grievances about the auction, the lots, or the process, please enlighten me as to where exactly I went wrong.
You... Fine. Yes, technically it was all legitimate. Guess all I can do is take the loss. But if word gets out about today's auction, people are gonna start seeing you as a con artist. No one would dare do business with you after that. I guess what I'm saying is this really in your best interests?
Let me answer that with a question. You claim that you were willing to pay a high price because you trusted me. But is that really the full story?
What do you mean? What else could it be?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps it could be something to do with a lost item from the original Jade Chamber collection that has quietly made its way into your hands. When the Jade Chamber fell, countless valuable items from my collection plunged into the sea. I organized a salvage operation, but still there were many items unaccounted for. A considerable number of these made their way back into Liyue Harbor through means unbeknownst to me, and passed through several pairs of hands before finally ending up in yours, and those of your fellow bidders today.
Wait, you mean...
Yes. Everyone attending the auction today is in possession of lost property belonging to me. Or, to put it another way, they were all people who have had a taste of something that was mine and convinced themselves that I am someone to be taken advantage of.
O por decirlo de otra manera, todos eran personas que habían probado algo que era mío y se convencieron de que podían aprovecharse de mí. No me extraña que tuvieran una fe tan ciega.
So I ask you again, your high bidding price, was it motivated by trust, or was it greed? The sole reason I held this auction is to reclaim my treasured possessions. If you are willing to return what is mine, I will refund all the money you spent in the auction today.
All right, fine. I guess I'll return it. You drive a hard bargain like everyone says. I'll go and get it right now. Please just wait here.
Despite his bad attitude, he cooperated in the end. Good for him.
A pesar de su mala actitud, terminó cooperando. Bien por él. Ahora lo entiendo todo.
The issue was that all items of mine that have been fished out of the sea have changed hands numerous times already. Determining who has legal ownership would be an extremely long-winded process, with each item being assessed on a case-by-case basis. Even Yenfei says she'd have a difficult time defending my claims. I could have bought them back, but it's not in my nature to pay twice for the same thing. Least of all, when they'd be looking to make a handsome profit from my misfortune. After making some inquiries, I found them to be most uncooperative, so I had to resort to this auction to finally put a stop to all this nonsense.
Tras hacer algunas indagaciones, vi que ellos eran los menos dispuestos a cooperar, así que tuve que organizar una subasta para poner fin a esto de una vez por todas. Es definitivamente tu estilo. Espero no estar nunca en tu punto de mira.
I just wanted my things back. Hardly an unusual sentiment. At most, a little childish perhaps. Which is another reason why I didn't tell anybody about my plan. What do you think it was about the Jade Chamber that defeated Osial?
¿Por qué crees que la cámara de Jade puede derrotar a Osial? Porque explotó. Era muy grande.
Well, I think it was a combination of the weight and the energy it contains. Its great weight meant that it hit Osial with incredible force, while the energy within triggered that spectacular explosion. Every piece of the Jade Chamber, from the stone walls and wooden beams down to the smallest ornament, contributed to its total weight. But in the end, they became objects of merchants' greed. It's hard not to get a little irked thinking about it.
Es difícil no molestarse cuando lo piensas. Eso no es nada infantil. Yo también espero que recuperes todas tus cosas.
Thank you for understanding. Now I've got one of my items back. Let me show you what makes it so special. The secrets of history shine through in the relics that survive. And this one now has the story of another age to tell.
Esta será la segunda. El peso de una colección. Ni uno solo de los objetos que se sacrificaron durante la batalla decisiva debe perderse, por muy poco que sea. Ninguang te pide que sustituyas a su secretaria. Después de aprender un poco, presentes un programa para los asuntos del día siguiente. De nuevo a hablar.
Before I get into it, then let's press on. All ready?
Wonderful. Then I'll be counting on you to provide. I'm grateful for your. If anything else is.
Take care, Lady Ning. Don't you think that this schedule is a bit of a light load? Yeah, that's true. Lady Ninguang has a lot of work to attend to, and frankly, she doesn't have many opportunities to rest. We do sometimes worry about her health, but her attitude is very Mora-driven. If by taking a break there's a chance she'll lose Mora, she'll never agree to it.
Nosotros también nos preocupamos por su salud, pero por poco es, no necesitaría descansar si por ello tuviera que perder una sola mora. Pero siempre habrá trabajo que hacer. No hay cantidad de moras que valga la pena si arruinas tu salud en ello.
Huh. I see where you're coming from. Yes, you have a point. All right then, let's go with your plan. I'm sure Lady Ninguang has plenty she wants to talk about with you. There's a lot of things that need doing over at the auction venue, so I will be leaving you now.
Todavía hay mucho trabajo importante que hacer en las subastas, así que me despido ahora. Espero que todo salga bien.
I hope so too. You must be exhausted. Make sure you get an early night tonight.
Ah, sí, es otra misión tiempo libre. Espera hasta el día siguiente, dentro de las 7 y 8 horas.
Yes, I'm already awake. I'll be out in a moment. I'm just changing. Good morning. Did you sleep well?
Buenos días, ¿qué tal descansaste ayer? No pude dormir por la ansiedad, estuve un poco nervioso.
There's nothing to worry about. We just need to go through the schedule you made and tick the items off one by one. So, what's item 1 on today's schedule?
Bueno, ¿qué es lo primero que tenemos que hacer hoy? Mira, estos son los planes.
I imagine this must have taken Baisher completely by surprise.
Esos planes deben haber superado las expectativas de Baichi. Sí, pero dijo que no iba a intervenir.
Sure, there's no harm in changing my schedule around once in a while. My schedule is usually very tightly packed, and any extra time I can squeeze out is spent on preparing for the future. So, it'll be quite nice to take a break.
Sería bueno tener una oportunidad para descansar. No descansas muy a menudo.
I don't often feel tired. Seeing the Mora come in has a way of making me feel quite invigorated. Still, your idea is very sensible. Mora can only lift a weary spirit. It cannot alleviate physical fatigue. So then, the days ahead of us. Any ideas on how to spend it?
Bueno, ya que tenemos todo el día para descansar, ¿tienes alguna idea? Hagamos lo que no has tenido tiempo de hacer antes. Hagamos lo que no has tenido oportunidad de hacer antes.
Something I never have time for. Ah, have you played the chess game I made? Or heard of it, perhaps?
Oh, sí. ¿Has jugado o has escuchado hablar de ajedrez que fabriqué? He escuchado de él.
It's called Liyue Millennial, based on classic chess, but with different rules. When I was designing it, I wanted it not only to be a fun game, but also to capture Liyue's culture in a unique way. So I introduced a lot of concepts that aren't part of traditional chess, as well as different chess pieces and even boards. I'm constantly revising and expanding it. So far, there are over 30 editions.
Sigo revisando y aumentando el contenido. Ya tengo más de 30 ediciones. Qué proyecto tan ambicioso.
True. That's one reason why it's been difficult to catch on. But I don't feel that making it easier to learn is necessarily a good thing. Isn't one of the joys of playing chess to continually learn and progress through a complex set of rules?
¿Acaso no es uno de los mayores placeres de ajedrez el tener posibilidad de aprender y progresar a través de complejas reglas? ¿Cómo hacemos que se vuelva popular?
I think the key will be to make something that easily catches the attention of people who haven't played much chess before. I'm planning to make a new set with the board and pieces based on the battle for Liyue. One side will play the Guardians of Liyue Harbor. The other side will play the Fatui and Osile.
Por un lado estarán los guardianes de Liyue y por el otro los Fatui y Ocial. Suena
No
divertido.
problem. I will let you try it out as soon as I finish the prototype. I want to make each of the chess pieces of Liyue Millennial as true to life as possible. And no Guardians of Liyue chess set would be complete without you, would it?
Los guardianes de Liyue no estarán completos sin ti, ¿no crees? Entonces, ¿quieres hacer una pieza mía?
I am indeed. Many of them, in fact. My thinking was that only people who pre-order the chess set at full price will be eligible to receive the limited edition Traveler chess piece. It seems only fitting for someone of your status.
Y lo más apropiado para alguien como tú. Así que soy parte del plan de promoción.
Naturally, since you are the face of that historic event. I intend to make chess pieces for everyone who was involved that day, including myself. Everyone who owns this chess set will preserve this moment in history in a vivid and compelling form.
De esta manera, los que tengan este juego también estarán coleccionando un pedazo vivo de la historia. Suena genial.
Then it's decided. Come with me. To make this chess piece, I need to take some measurements.
Acompaña a Ninguang a encargar la pieza.
Oh, Lady Ninguang and the Traveler.
You already know each other?
Que se conocen, no hemos visto antes.
Oh, I think it goes a little deeper than that. I don't teach my hard-earned skills to just anyone, you know. There's a word for people like you, who are warm one minute and cold the next. Fickle.
You seem to be in a good mood today.
As ever, there's nothing special about today, but seeing you two has definitely perked me up. All jokes aside, how can I be of service today?
Remember the custom chess pieces I told you about? I'd like you to take his measurements today.
Recuerda las piezas de ajedrez personalizadas que te encargué. Quiero que le tomes medidas. Pero no se dedica a la porcelana.
Whatever business I'm in, I am first and foremost a woman of many talents. Don't you remember when I taught you how to make perfume? There was no porcelain involved in that. As it happens, I am a skilled tailor as well. What can I say? I'm in the prime of my youth and I love all beautiful things. Is that so strange?
Yingar is every bit as proficient as any of the top tailors in the land. I've availed myself of her services many times before.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just realizing that the Traveler only thinks I'm good at one thing. I see how it is. In which case, you'll find all the tools you could need in the room. Please, help yourselves. I'll stay outside and mind my own porcelain business, as you quite rightly suggested.
Huh? What are you expecting me to do here?
Oh, I think the Traveler is the one you should be asking about that.
Creo que debería preguntar al viajero. No estaba insinuando nada. Deja de tergiversar mis palabras.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's hard not to tease when you're both so well matched. Come on then. Step inside and I'll examine your body from tip to toe.
If I hear any strange new rumors after this, you will be my #1 suspect.
Rumors about the traveler or the chess piece?
Either. Both are confidential.
Don't worry, I know where the line is. I'd never take a joke too far. Secrets are only fun when they're kept secret.
Los secretos solo son interesantes cuando son secretos. Espero que de verdad sepas cuál es el límite.
Just enough with the ambiguous phrasing, okay? You'll give people the wrong idea. Forget it. Let's just go.
You're always welcome at Scent of Spring. Come again, anytime.
I slightly regret bringing you here. It doesn't bother me. I just hope she didn't make you feel too awkward. Now that your measurements are taken, let's go to Mingxing Jewelry and put an order in.
Ve a las joyas Minxin a hacer el encargo.
Hello, Lady Ninguang. What can I do for you today?
That chess piece I told you about? We can start work now. I have the traveler's measurements here.
Okay, let me just double check. Looks good. This has all the measurements we need. I'll pass them on to the craftsman shortly.
Good. And as agreed, please use top-grade materials only.
Of course, we are professionals, and we will do everything we can to deliver the high standard you expect. Although, speaking to you as a friend, I have to tell you that the sale price you indicated won't even cover the cost of production. I don't mean just the material costs either. Waiting around for top-quality materials drags out the production time and also reduces the total quantity we can produce.
That's okay. This one is not for profit. With every previous set, there's always been some degree of commercial or marketing considerations to bear in mind. But this one serves more of a commemorative purpose. To that point, as you know, the prototype of the Jade Chamber chess piece has been in the works for a long time, but I haven't once followed up on the progress.
Como ves, la muestra de la cámara de Jade lleva mucho tiempo en producción y no le he hecho seguimiento ni una sola vez. La cámara de Jade. Este ajedrez tiene una pieza de la cámara de Jade.
Yes, and just like your piece, the Jade Chamber piece will be scaled for the game.
La pieza de la cámara de Jade también será hecha a escala. Ahora comprendo la preocupación de Xingying. Esto costará mucho esfuerzo.
Yes, it's a challenging project, but also, not for profit is really not something I ever expected from Lady Ninguang. How do I put it? It just seems out of character.
In business, everything comes down to profits versus losses. You have to keep a cool head and make rational judgments. In other words, you must be shrewd. But shrewdness is easily perceived as cynicism in the eyes of others. People come to think of you as someone who cares only about money and not people. Hardly the worst thing in the world, of course. But it has caused obstacles for me in the past.
Una conclusión que carece totalmente de lógica, pero la realidad es que esto me ha dificultado las cosas en más de una ocasión. ¿Dificultar las cosas?
Well, for example, I once had a case where someone backed out of a deal with me to sell to someone else. We were both offering the exact same terms. It was simply because they didn't like me very much. Another case is where I offered distinctly more competitive terms in an investment, and this ended up arousing their suspicion. That Ninguang, they thought. She must be up to something. We can't let her get away with it.
I see.
But these problems disappeared all but completely after the battle against Osile. Why? Because the whole of Liyue witnessed me destroying my Jade Chamber. At least, that's the most reasonable explanation I can think of.
Oh, I get it. You're saying that back when you sacrificed the Jade Chamber, you gained everyone's respect in return. You're not seeking to make a profit from these chess pieces because what you're commemorating is your personal contribution to Liyue Harbor. It was the deal of the century, and as long as you keep capitalizing on it, business will be plain sailing for you in the future.
Yes, exactly. Very to the point.
Truly a brilliant strategy, Lady Ninguang. You really are a business mastermind. Now I understand why this set needs to be so perfect and why it's okay that it doesn't turn a profit.
It will be a lot of work, and I'm most grateful to you. Make sure the Traveler's piece is exactly how he wants it. We can't go letting him down.
Don't you worry. We'll put our all into it.
Well, that's that then. Let's head back to the Jade Chamber. There's something I want to discuss with you.
Regresa a la cámara de Jade y abre con Ninguang.
I have a question for you, and I'd like to hear your honest opinion. And I, in turn, will tell you how I really think. When we were at Mingxing Jewelry, I admitted that my decision to sacrifice the Jade Chamber was a calculated one. I had already considered what I stood to lose and to gain. When you heard that, did it make you think that maybe I really was a cynical profit chaser after all?
Cuando escuchaste eso, ¿pensaste que al final realmente soy una cínica que solo busca el beneficio económico? Lo importante es que te recuperaste cuando llegó el momento. Soy sincero, sí me sentí un tanto decepcionado. Creo que solo intentas compensar a tus pérdidas.
Thank you. Yes. You see things the way they are, however they may appear on the surface. I was lying to Xingxi. My decision to destroy the Jade Chamber was nowhere near as thought through as I made it out to be. I just thought we should do what needed to be done, and this was a decision that only I could make. Afterwards, I consoled myself by reasoning that all my wealth comes from Liyue Harbor. So, to lose Liyue Harbor is to lose everything. In that sense, giving up the Jade Chamber would be a profitable investment in the long term. But it just didn't work. I was grief-stricken. Like a huge part of my heart was suddenly missing. Because I had just severed ties with a lifelong companion. I stared out at the sea for goodness knows how long. I just couldn't let it go. I just couldn't. There was no way I could console myself. So why bother trying?
Encontró la manera de hallar consuelo. ¿Por qué molestarse en intentarlo?
But as time went by, I received so many thank you gifts and letters from people. Everyone was describing how they now saw me in a new light, how I'd become an inspiration to them. I gave up the Jade Chamber without a moment's hesitation, and I did it for the sake of Liyue Harbor. And now, people are inspired to follow my example, to tackle their life challenges with the same unswerving determination. All of this was so encouraging to hear. It made me feel that my dear old companion's sacrifice was not in vain.
Todo esto me animó tanto. Me hizo sentir que el sacrificio de mi vieja compañera no fue en vano. ¿Y por qué lo mentiste a Xin Xin?
Because, to most people, the idea that Lady Ninguang is someone who battles with grief and struggles to let go of the past is probably the furthest thing from the truth that they could imagine. This is one aspect of the truth that I can share only with you. The fact that
La realidad es que
I
no
can't
siempre,
always be as strong as everyone thinks I am.
la realidad es que no siempre puedo ser tan fuerte como todo el mundo espera. Ya pasó lo peor, lo hiciste muy bien.
Thank you for your comforting words. It feels good even just to be able to talk about it. I'm sorry that you have to see me in this state. But look where I am now, standing on the deck of the Jade Chamber once more, taking in the view. It must be fate's reward to me. And if I end up having to do it all over again in the future, I will not hesitate to make the same decision again.
Voluntad inamovible. Tras atravesar muchos momentos de melancolía, las nubes ya se dispararon. En el futuro, seguro que tomarán las decisiones correctas.